Hi friends, hi neighbors. It has been another beautiful week. I hope you have had a wonderful week enjoying some of this warmer weather. It got very chilly over the weekend. I was not excited, but I think we're about to have our first warm weekend. I saw on one of the groups that I follow on Facebook that it looks like spring is a mere 18 or so days away. So looking forward to that. The reason why I'm doing this video tonight, I'm going to be doing several others tonight before I go to bed. So those recordings will be coming in the next couple of days as I can edit them. But this one I'm going to do kind of live and ad hoc. This is in regards to this lovely piece of presents that we got this week. The tax reevaluation for 2023 for our property taxes. And seeing everything that was posted on the socials in the wake of everyone having checked their mailboxes yesterday, yeah, it looks like it took a lot of people by surprise, myself included. So being the geek that I am, I had to start digging for answers. And so this video is going to be me starting my process for the research I'm going to do as part of how did we get to the tax valuation that we have and the appeals process. So whether you choose to appeal or not, totally up to you. But this is going to require a beverage. So I've poured a mega pint, if you will. If you followed the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, the mega pint became a big fixture in my life. That was the one kind of key takeaway I had from that trial. And then for those following, a quick sidebar, the Alec Murdaugh trial, closing arguments ended today and jury went into deliberation this afternoon. As of like 5:30, I had not seen that they had made any type of verdict decision, but that jury has a whole lot of thread pulling to do. They got so much information over the last 6 weeks. They were not taking notes. They were not permitted to have notepads or pens. What was going to be a 3-week trial turned into a 6-week trial. It was 27 days, I believe. And man, that prosecution, the state and the defense team, they threw a lot of really down in the details minutia as to how he could have or how there was no way in hell it could have been him. So I hope that jury has a photographic memory. But maybe we all need to kind of just put our thinking caps on, that jury included. We're going to need the same kind of thread pulling attention to detail in kind of evaluating these taxes. So I'm going to walk us through, I have several things pulled up, and I'm going to walk you through kind of my process for creating the Excel spreadsheet that will become my home place for all of my research that will be compiled. So if that is helpful for you, you don't know how to do Excel, you have questions about how to do that, please reach out to me. I would love to help you. This is kind of something that is in my wheelhouse, and I just love throwing out an Excel spreadsheet. So having said that, let me switch screens here. So this is what our tax bill looks like. And I don't even know why I hid our names and addresses, because this is all public information and we're going to see it on the website when I navigate over to that anyway. But a couple of important things for you to note. A, this is the mailing address for the Craven County Tax Collector. This is the citywide reappraisal notice of real property assessed value. This was the date of the notice. And this is for our property, specifically 5002 Plymouth Court. This is our township, our map number, and our lot. And these three numbers together, separated by a dash, is your parcel number. So that is important. So I like to... let's see. I like to just, let's see. So it doesn't help to highlight things when that's not helpful at all. Can we just, nope. Let's turn that off. Okay. So that is our parcel number. That's going to be important on the website that we're going to go to here in just a minute. And then the other number that's kind of important is this parcel reference number. You'll see a space for that on the website as well. So if you don't have your parcel number, can't find it, you can also search by last name, first name. But if you just bought your home, we have a lot of new people that live in Fairfield Harbor. A lot of new people have been buying houses over the past 2 years. Let's say that the property value is not in your current name. That won't happen until this year's property taxes go out. You may not remember or know the name of the sellers that you purchased from, or if it's a new build, you may not have that information. So having this information is helpful, but there are other ways to search for your property, and we'll talk through that as we get there. And then the other kind of key thing to note is this line right here. That's a dotted line. That is where we are going to tear for the informal appeals process. So don't lose sight of that dotted line, okay? So this form must be completed in its entirety for the appeals process. And information that we're going to glean is they've highlighted it for us. That was very nice. We're going to go to the CravenCountyNC.gov website here in just a second. There is a way to search for comparable properties. That is a requirement on this form. So whenever you're saying, you know, what is your self-assessment of your evaluation, you're going to answer these questions. On the back, there is a section. I didn't print the back, but there on the back of this form, there is a section that asks you for 3 comps if needed to justify. So it's giving you information on how to get to comparable sales that you would want to use. Anywho, the other thing is that if you wish to appeal, this is important. It's also another yellow box. Thanks, County, for highlighting this. Your appeal must be processed or must be received 30 days from this date of notice. So 30 days from this date of notice, February 27th. And I think on the website it says May 2nd is that 30th day that all of your information has to be in. Okay. All right. That was really all I took from this form, other than this astronomical value right here. This is the new tax value that they have set for your property, which is what your property rate is going to be based on. And having said that, let's go to my spreadsheet, because this is where I started kind of organizing my thoughts before I went to the website. So I have an Excel spreadsheet pulled up here. This is the website where I am going to pull all of my data from. This is the spreadsheet as it is so far. I'm going to walk you through how I created this right now. So we are going to go to CravenCountyNC.gov. And let me just stop here and say, this next little bit, I am going to walk us through several things. If at any point you get lost or you have questions, just hit the pause video on YouTube. You can rewind it, watch it again. I am going to try to slow down at this point. So this may be a longer video, but I'm going to try to talk slower. I'm also going to try to walk through the calculations that I use to capture this. But again, I'm just a phone call away. So if you have questions or would like help with Excel or navigating this website, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help. So this is just the home page, and I took us to the home page, not the /tax, because I wanted to show you how to navigate there. This website is very user-friendly. The GUI interface is amazing. Better than a lot of federal and state government websites I navigate on the regular. So we are going to hover over services. So this is the top. We're going to hover over services, and we are going to go to tax collections here. Okay. This is that same hyperlink that I have Please don't be slow. In my Excel file here, okay? I like to copy and paste hyperlinks into my master document because then on a day when my brain is fried and I have no idea how I got to where I was going, I have left myself breadcrumbs for how to get back there, okay? So this is that. So again, none of these are required fields. You don't have to enter anything here, but you can put first or last name if you have that. Again, this is your parcel reference number. So from your bill, the parcel reference number is this number. Your parcel number is the combination of these three numbers, okay? So my parcel ID, I'm going to use this one. I wish this just jumped to the next box since they're all three required. Let me just double check this. It's dark in here. My kids are asleep, and if I wake them up, I'm going to just... Okay, I'm going to leave it for all tax years because we are new to New Bern. We're new to Craven County. We've only lived here 2 years come St. Patrick's Day. And so I wanted to see how tax values have changed year over year since this house was built. Okay. So that's why I am leaving all years. Let's say you've lived in your house for the past 10 years and you know how the taxes have changed year over year. This may not be a valuable exercise for you. Fast forward. Okay. But this is kind of me getting up to speed on what am I looking at and how did we get here? Okay. Let's just go ahead and big gulps. Today's a big gulp day. So I am going to, from the column headers all the way to the end here, you can see I have 14 rows. 1 of 14 are showing. If you had more rows, let's say your house was built before 2009, you likely have more rows. You can copy as many rows as you want to out of here. I don't see a way to export this. Fail. So if Craven County ever watches this, a website modification that you could make would be to give your customers an export function. But here's how we're going to do this. I am going to left click on my mouse and I'm going to highlight this whole table. And I am going to Control C. Okay, I'm going to go back to my website and I just have this blank sheet 4 here. I'm going to Control V to paste this in here. This looks very blurry on my screen. I don't know how to fix that. I think it's the resolution that I'm working with, but let's see if I blow it up a little bit, if that helps. Okay. So you can see how these cells are merged. The reason why you know these are merged cells means that you have taken multiple cells and merged them into a singular cell, is that it's showing grid lines. Grid lines in Excel are these light gray lines that give you a reference for where the cells are located. I, for one, hate grid lines, so I turn them off. But they are helpful, especially if you're not familiar with Excel, to use them to see things like merge cells. If you didn't have the grid lines to go by, you would have no idea other than looking here to see that 5 and 6 are both highlighted to know that this was a merge cell. So for those new to Excel, just leave your grid lines on. You know that this is merged because on your home tab, merge and center is highlighted. It's already clicked. You can see that it is merged because rows 5 and 6 are also highlighted. See the green line? And all of these, except for row I, these are not merged because why would they be? It's just difficult. So what we're going to do is clean this up. When you are working with any kind of data set, you want to make sure that you are starting from a clean data table. That means no merged cells, no running on of multiple data elements in a singular cell. So we're going to clean all of this up. I get rid of empty rows. Okay, so I got rid of that empty top row. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and everywhere where I see these merged cells, see how there's 2, and these are separate. I'm just going to highlight year to discovery year all the way down. I'm just going to click on merge and center and see how that unmerged everything. So now you see all these blank rows that were left just for the reference. What was that called? The parcel reference number. Again, my address is merged. We see it here. And we also see that when I click on a singular cell, it is 2 rows highlighted at the same time. I'm going to click down, merge and center. Now I am just going to go through here. I don't care about the parcel reference number because I have the parcel ID. So all of these, all of these blank rows, I am just going to highlight and let's see, there's one more right here behind my name. Perfect. And I'm going to right click and delete those cells. So now I have a data table where every data element is in a singular cell. Nothing is merged. Nothing is formatted in any kind of weird way. And I'm going to take this table, okay? I copied that and I pasted it into what I am calling my calculations tab. Okay, so this table, I will show you, became this table. I kind of grew up my adult professional career in consulting, and in the consulting world, when you start with data elements like a table like this, and you add anything to the raw table, you highlight what you added in a different color so that you can tell your clients, this is what I started with, this is what you gave me, this is what was exported from this site, and then I added these critical data elements to help me get to this decision point or to help me get to this value proposition or this savings number. Okay, so we are going to, that's why you see all the different colors here, is because I added them to the original table. Okay, so between original levy and balance, that's how much was still owed on taxes year over year. So between original levy and balance, I added 3 columns. Between address, I think that was the last column. Anyway, I just started building columns onto the end of my table. Okay, and you will notice I have highlighted the table and created borders within my table and removed grid lines from everywhere else. I just think that looks cleaner to me. My ADHD brain has less to focus on with all those lines going up and down, and I can focus on what I need to in the data table. So 2 things I'm going to do just really quickly, again, because I don't want to overburden myself with things that don't matter. I'm going to hide, not delete, but hide columns I'm not planning on using. Okay. And then just make this to where we can see it all in one table. All right, so here we go. So the other thing that I did was I highlighted my row headers and filtered. So if you, from your home tab in the ribbon, if you go to the A to Z, which is sorting, or the filter, you can click on filter. And then what I did was went to year and sorted ascending. Okay. I just did just like that. If you wanted to sort it descending, you just click there. And now you can see that the years go newest to oldest, but I want it ascending. Okay. Other things I'm going to hide for the sake of this. We don't need to know who the prior owners of this property were. So I'm just going to hide that. I don't care about account numbers or the bill IDs. I'm just trying to get it to where you can see all on one screen. It's just, okay. So here, these were the original levies each year, 2009 to 2023. Okay. I calculated this. This was not a field available on the website. Okay. So and let me tell you how I got to these data elements. So 2023 is not even in this table yet, right? But 2022, if you click on 2022, let me see if I can show you this way. Ooh, look. So 2022, this is how I got to these numbers. Oh. Don't be a jerk. So when I click on 2022 at the top, see it's highlighted yellow here on the website. When I come down, it tells me the building value, the outbuilding value, the land value, and the total parcel value. These are the 4 numbers. So that's what these other blue columns are here. So in 2022, I hand keyed 401,540 for the building total, 14,790 for the outbuilding total, the land value 132, and then the total tax value of 548,330. Okay, so it's really important that there's human error here, the potential for it. Okay, Lord knows if anybody's gonna make a mistake, it's me. But it's important that you just double check these numbers and make sure that they're right, because we're going to build calculations off of these numbers. Okay. And then how I got, because 2023 is not on the website yet, right? Because we have an appeals process that we're able to go through. All I did was take the number that was on this form, my 735,540. Look at that huge jump, but it used to be higher. Anyway, we have, I just added that number here, and I'm going to start doing calculations. Okay. So one of my first questions was, okay, how much has this changed year over year? So you can't really evaluate that for year 1 because you had no prior year to compare it to. But for every year thereafter, I got the percentage of what was this year's total tax value compared to the year before. Okay, that's what I'm comparing here. If you double click the calculation, it'll highlight the columns or the cells that are included. So there was a 38% increase from 2010 to 2009. Those were the first 2 years of my table, 2009, 2010. Okay. Then we had no incline until here. So in row 10, and I'm sorry, I'm scrolling over this way. I know this is the next time we had a reevaluation. But as someone mentioned on the Facebook page to message our county commissioner, and we'll talk about that, if not in this video, in another video, we can ask for a neutral, budget neutral reevaluation. And that was what this was budget neutral. The reevaluation that we are talking about in 2023 is not budget neutral. That's why we're seeing the increases here. But in 2010, which is the last reevaluation that was done, it was a budget neutral evaluation. Okay, so that is the next time that we see property taxes change. Okay, so it was 0. Then there's a change, plus or minus. I just highlighted it in red because this happens to be negative. So my property value went down 28% in the new reevaluation in 2010. Okay, so we have to think about what was happening in 2010 that would make my property value go down. And because you pulled from this website, right, we clicked on each one of these years and brought all the numbers over the way that they're listed down here. It was the total building value decreased and my total land value decreased. Okay. So that's the reason for this change. Then we've had no more changes until last year, which is when we purchased the home. We had a 2% increase in total tax value. And then this year, it jumps another 25%. So from 548,330 to 735,540. The other thing that was notable on this tax valuation last year was this addition of an outbuilding. And we're not even able to have outbuildings in Fairfield Harbor. And so what I can only imagine that this is either something to do. The only other real property assessed that we have added to our tax documentation is our boat dock, which is out on the water, and the boat trailer and the boat. So this, I have no idea, because I didn't think things on the water could be counted as far as this. I don't know. I have questions, right? So then basically I'm going to show you what I do. Questions. So on this, what is the what is considered outbuilding for 2022? Okay. So we are going to just start tracking questions, okay? Because there was no other outbuilding here beforehand. So where did this come from last year? And how is that? I can only imagine, because what I don't know is where these increases came from this year. Did our land value increase? Did this outbuilding value increase, which I don't even know what that is? And then total building increase, our total house. We haven't done any major capital improvements to our home in the past 2 years. So I don't know. We're going to find those things out. Okay, so that starts the research process, right? So we have the scientific method. We have a conclusion that we're trying to get to, and we're going to have a whole bunch of hypotheses that we are going to prove or unprove, and those are going to become the documentation that we need for our appeal. And we have a very short window. 30 days is not very long to look at comps, especially if you don't do this every day. I'm not a real estate agent. I don't do this every day. I have a full-time job. I have kids that I have to shuttle to all their extracurriculars and to school and homework to finish, dinner to make and laundry to do. I don't have time to do this. And this is kind of adding burden to the taxpayers in any county, right? Like this happens across the country. This is not new. And this is, you know, I'm just bitching at this point, but it is just one more thing when we're already just trying to get taxes paid for federal and state. So it's just one more thing, right? Okay. So essentially, I think I've walked us through. I'm just going to recap here, right? We took the master data table from this website. We cleaned it up to where we had one data element per row. We had nothing merged. I brought it over here just because I'm OCD that way. And then I started adding columns, right? I went through the website and clicked on each tax year. Once I found my parcel ID, I clicked on each year and hand keyed these 4 variables. So total building value, outbuilding value, total land value, and total tax value. Those are located, I don't know if you can see this, but right here, these are the values that I pulled over into this table. And then I just started doing calculations. What is this percent change year over year? And then the other thing I looked at, adding another calculation, was what was my dollar change in the levy, right? Not my dollar change in the total tax value, but what changed about the actual tax value that was levied. Okay. So, I mean, this is pennies, right? And the reason why this is different, it went down $19 roughly. It went down $16 roughly. It went up $66, up $100, down $300 in 2010 when that budget neutral reevaluation was done. The reason why these numbers are all different is because each year, that was another question that I had that I solved since I was talking with people on Facebook earlier. Why is this number different every year when no tax values changed? Why was this number different? And it's because the rate, the property tax rate changed year over year. And this is where I am still living. I live here now for the foreseeable future. I calculated what was the tax rate, right? So I said, if 270507, and this is a rate based on per $100 of your total property value. So I said, take my total tax value and divide that by $100, okay? Because it's per $100. And then I found the rate that got me to this number. And so that for me was the original levy value divided by my total tax value divided by 100, okay? Because your county tax rate is whatever the rate is per $100, okay? So this was my calculated rate. And what I found interesting is that these are not the rates reported each year. So I've been doing some digging. So if you just dig for what is the tax rate for fiscal year 22-23 in Craven County, you can see that this is coming from the CravenCountyNC.gov website. It is 56 cents per $100 valuation. So that's what I have here. I calculated it, what it would be based on 56 cents per this tax value, total tax value, okay? But then I was looking at other years because I was like 2014. So if you click on this document for 2014, and I just picked a random year to demonstrate in this, but I am doing this for every single year. I did it already, but I'm going back and checking myself because there's not a clear place that I have found that just says year over year, here is the tax rate per $100 for Craven County. It's not that simple, because why would it be? Okay. So what I did was I opened up that report that showed me that, and I'm going to Control F for find. You can also go to edit and find here, search. Okay. But I'm a keyboard girl. So I just said per $100. I don't know how it's going to be listed in here. And yeah, so look at this with me. Go away. Okay. Oh, that's so blurry. But okay, I'll read it to you. Right here. Governmental activities. The county has approved a $97.8 million general fund budget for fiscal year 2014. This is up $3.8 million from the budget originally adopted for fiscal year 2013, but is $2.4 million less than the final budget for 2013. People that are not into numbers, most Americans today, if you look at research, cannot read at an 8th grade level. That is one, sad, and two, the everyday taxpayer that is electing these officials that make these rules don't understand this. They do not have a finance background, if they can even read this. And even myself, who lives in the terms and conditions, the T's and C's, the fine print, if you will, I have to go back and reread things 3 and 4 times. So it's hard. And that's why we have to kind of all be in it together, but we can't just not take action if we feel like this tax valuation is wrong, because it just sets a precedent moving forward. Right. So, anyway, it's hard and I get it, but it's our elected officials' job to make sure that we as their constituents understand what this means for us. So we're going to message our county commissioners and call the tax office and ask them to explain this to us. But this is, again, 2014. I'm just showing you one example of where I found this number in my spreadsheet for 2014. so that you can see the links that I'm going to make sure I have my information right. Okay. So going back, estimates of property values for fiscal year 2014 are $9.85 billion, a slight increase over the 2013 actual valuation of $9.74 billion. The reason for this small increase are the expected continuing decline in motor vehicle values, which have steadily declined for 4 years, and the continued slowdown of new construction. The 2014 budget was adopted with a rate of 0.4675 cents per $100 of property valuation, a quarter of a cent reduction from the rate of 0.4700 per $100 for 2013. No fund balance was appropriated to balance the budget. Okay, so this tells us that in 2013, the rate was 0.4700, and in 2014, the rate adopted was 0.4675. But when I do the calculation of what is the rate for $3,415.29 of taxes compared to my total tax value for 2014, I'm on the wrong slide. When I look at this and I say, what is the rate for this tax value based on this total tax valuation? It's 0.51. So now I have a new question. Why are some of my calculated tax rates different from what Craven County published as the tax rate for that fiscal year? And these are questions that I likely am not going to be able to answer on my own. It's going to take phone calls to the tax county office. It's going to probably take meetings. It's going to take somebody smarter than me. Obviously, if I knew the answer, I wouldn't have the question. But these are all things that we have to do. Okay. So again, I just, for simplification purposes, I calculated the rate based on math. It's math. And that's not always my strong suit. I've pretty much aged out of being able to help my 4th grader with math. But I took the rate and divided it by the total tax value divided by $100 because it's this rate per $100. And then my research came up with these numbers year over year. Okay. So then I want to know why for most every single year, my tax value was greater than the value here on the page. And in some cases, significantly. So questions, right? The other thing I just want to point out quickly, because at this point you're likely bored or have just turned this off altogether, and I don't blame you, is there are some reasons, right? I'm going to just pause here. There are some reasons why tax rates are reevaluated from a county perspective. So, or why you would want to appeal, let me say it that way. Why would I want to appeal this tax value or this reassessment notice that I got for this year? What if your house, yes, in good condition, right? Because it's based on appraisal value from what I've been able to ascertain so far. There's several factors in there, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But what if your home needs significant repairs? Like we literally have a porch on our house with holes in it. So like we don't go out there because we need to have it repaired, and we have not done that yet. And that's going to be even further delayed by paying taxes. Okay. Your value of your property may not be aligned with what the county assessed. So the county is typically using a very broad brush to just say, based on these macroeconomic numbers, we just saw, right? Vehicular taxes in 2014 had gone down. The tax value of vehicles on the road being maintained, where property taxes were being paid on those vehicles, the value of those vehicles went down for 4 years in a row consistently. That impacted overall funds for budgeting, because as our tax values go down year over year, the county has less. This is why we're right sizing to make sure that we have enough money in the budget to pay for the services that we as citizens in Craven County need and want, right? But our personal property may not align with kind of this broad brushstroke that the county has applied in just doing a blanket reassessment and a blanket fee on everyone's properties. There also is a ton of new construction. There are so many houses that have been built, are being raised, are being remodeled and gutted and redone here in Fairfield Harbor. Of course, our collective tax values are going to go up, but that doesn't mean that everyone's individual properties are doing the same, especially if you have dated appliances, dated kind of, most people now are going to an open floor plan. If your floor plan is very closed off, that decreases the value. Like if you were to have, say, I want to put my house on the market and have a real estate agent come over and an appraiser come over, and they take your house and compare it with other comps in your neighborhood, yours is typically going to rank less. That's the way it works, right? And that's not good or bad. That is your house compared to other homes in your area. That's just how real estate works, right? So new construction and then all of the upgrades that people are doing around you, that all factors into kind of how the city has attested to this kind of broad brush 0.56 per $100 for everyone's tax valuation. Then based on those numbers, here's your new bill, right? We may not fall into that. We may need to state our case for why we are an exception to that rule. And again, it could be just, I don't think this is the case based on what I have read so far in the document that's on the reevaluation page, which we're going to go there next. I don't think this is the case, but they could have just taken last year's tax value and said, this is what we're going to increase it and do that for everybody. And then that's not good for anyone. Okay. So let me minimize these and let me go back. So this was the website that we started at. Remember, we went to services and tax collections. That brought up this page where we could find our parcel ID, which you have on your sheet. You can also look it up by reference number or name, and then you get your bill results when you click submit. Okay. On this same website, if you scroll down just a little bit, the quick links, the reevaluation 2023 information. If you click on this, mark your calendars, right? Notifications of new appraised value will be mailed to real estate property owners the week of February 27th. The notification is time sensitive. Property owners who disagree with the tax year 2023 new appraised value may appeal. Your last day to submit an appeal will be Monday, May 22nd, 2023 at 5 p.m. This is the date we're backing into, May 22nd, okay, for getting all of our information together, okay? Also on this page, there is a lot of information. So submit my real estate appeal. You can do it by mail by getting all your documentation together. And there's a mailing address on the back to send this into. You can also do that through this. Yeah, click here to submit your real estate appeal if you want to do it electronically. There is also a video here where they did a town hall to present the 2023 reevaluation. It is a YouTube video, and you can click here and watch that. I've watched about a quarter of it. I'm going to finish watching it, but that's also helpful information. This was the presentation done on February 20th. There is also another kind of bigger picture. What does this reevaluation mean for Craven County? And so look at this. It's been uploaded 2 days ago, and it's had 112 views. And there are only 201 subscribers to the Craven County, North Carolina website, which is where, or YouTube channel, which is where they're posting all of this information for us to be able to get. So my other suggestion would be to, if you're subscribed to this channel, go subscribe to that channel too. And then that way, when you're on YouTube, look, I'm already logged in here. When you're on YouTube, this is how you log in, and you'll see your credentials. Oh my gosh, I hate that so much. You will see all of your subscriptions here in your list, and you can go to just, and it will populate in your home here. It will populate new videos that have come out from the people that you subscribe to. Okay. So super simple. And then that way you kind of get all the up-to-date information when Craven County publishes new information. Also, there are town meeting documents and videos out here that you can watch the town hall meetings about the reevaluation. And then finally, this is the one thing I want to show you. This, well, two things. The schedules of values, standards, and rules. It is 620 pages. It reads like, let me show you how to sell real estate, and let me show you how to make sure that your appraisal is done correctly. So I've pulled it up here for the sake of time because it's 620 pages. It took a minute. And if we just look at the table of contents, there are the uniform assessment standards, appraisal definitions, so definitions for what was captured as part of this reevaluation, and just basic economic principles. Again, if your degree or your formal education to whatever level you have it is not in economics, finance, accounting, this is all, we're all learning here, right? So anyway, it was helpful for me to read through because I feel like it will just make our appraisal stronger if we can talk in a vernacular that we can all agree on. And this is the one that they've set the precedent for. The theory, there were 3 approaches to value, and they talk through the theory and appraisal methods used for the reevaluation: cost approach, market data approach, and income approach. Then there is the appraisal psychology. So if you were not a psychology major, you're only going to learn. Learning something new is not going to hurt anybody, okay? Data. This was the data collected and tested in order to get us to the evaluations that we received in the mail on the 27th. And the valuation of non-agricultural land, which is, for those of us in Fairfield Harbour, that's where we fall. We're non-agricultural land. So this is how they came up with all of that information. Then you can see this, the schedule of land values: residential and commercial, market values for rural tracts, valuations for buildings and improvements. So this is where, if you have had, look, outbuildings, which is where I have not gotten there yet, but I'll be reading about, because I have a feeling that that is either a generator, a boat dock, or something, but something is listed as an outbuilding for our tax values. So we're going to read through that. And then you have the valuation of burial property and commercial building costs. So some of these things are not going to be valuable for us from a residential perspective. Bypass the orange pages. And then you get into all the narrative. I'm going to be doing another one of these, giving the Cliff Notes version of this 620-page document, keeping in mind that less than 10% of the US population read a book after they graduate from high school. So the fact that you even put something like this out here to help guide citizens as to how this was done is kind of crazy. But here we are. So we're going to watch the videos and we're going to read this and we will summarize. And for those of you that don't read and don't watch, we'll summarize for you, just to try to get everybody. But just know I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not an appraisal. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a finance person. I can barely add with a calculator. So take what you can from me. Leave what doesn't make sense or is not valuable to you. And if you're not going to plan to do an appeal, if this does not, if you don't care, you're just going to pay it anyway, fine. I hope you have a great rest of your day. You don't have to watch any more of this series. But for those of us that do care and do want to understand this and want to live here for the long term and want to understand how our county does business from a tax perspective, this is all really eye-opening. It also really opens us up to the budget for the city or for Craven County, and how are they using these taxpayer dollars? Like, this is all, it all ties together. And for those of us that have lived in Fairfield Harbour for any length of time, and we just had the budget meeting, several weeks ago now, in January, I think it was. Seems so long ago. But it all ties together because the concepts and the principles of economics do not change. The way in which they are utilized and the way in which the people within that community relate to or are disconnected from the budget and the economics is very telling about the health of that community, in my opinion. So take that for what you will. So that was the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video was to walk through this sheet of paper so we understand what it looks like and how to read it. I don't even know, it's just falling apart. How to get our parcel ID, how to look things up on the Craven County site, how to start to pull together our own spreadsheet if that's something that we want to do, to understand year over year how our tax values have changed since our homes were established, and then starting to formulate the questions that we need to answer as we think about whether or not an appeal is the right thing for us. So we also wanted to talk through the website and navigate through the reevaluation page within the CravenCountyNC.gov website, as well as navigate through how to find the tax information for your parcel. So I think we checked all the boxes there. I hope this was helpful. I am going to do another series. I'm going to continue to do my research. I'm going to do another series once I have more of my questions answered on this is how this spreadsheet has evolved, and these are my next steps. The other thing I'm going to do is a Cliff Notes version of the 620-page document. So with that, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Friday is looking to be gorgeous, and this weekend is looking to be warm. So get outside, okay? And I will talk to you soon, if not, here in the next little bit, about the beacon. All right, guys, have a good day. Bye.